Hey, what's going on, Cashflow hackers? It's Chris with Life 180, and I got my buddy Charles here.
What's going on, guys?
We're in Florida, getting some work done, and we got Jeff Kamke up in the cold weather. What's the weather where you are, bro?
40 and windy.
It's warmer than I thought. But anyway, I'm back stateside for a couple days up here in Florida, getting things done, preparing to launch a new training program and filming a bunch of video at our partner Tyler's house on the back patio. Tyler's in closing some business, so we got relegated to the back patio, and we're doing our video out here. I guess it could be worse places. But today we're going to be talking about life insurance, how to sell more. This is something that obviously as we're kind of doing all the training and preparing for that, it's been top of mind for our conversations, just ultimately with running the agency and with the Life 180 Mastermind coming up, and I've been kind of prepping for that, and with all the new programs coming up. And by the way, if you're looking for the Mastermind information, or if you're an agent who's looking to kind of grow, I'll put the link is on the side. I'll actually put it again in there so you can have it if you're interested, and you can check it out. But I think today would be really interesting to talk about how to connect better with prospective clients. I'm running late today on this, and so we're not going to have as big of a panel as normal. And so I think it's actually probably better this way, less people to go through, and it'll be, I think, more effective with a smaller group of people anyway. And I love to pick Jeff and Charles's brains and kind of see their thoughts on things and then share my thoughts. But here's the deal. We have, I think with Life 180 now, we're just over 400 agents in that range. And obviously different people at different stages of their business. We have a lot of people that come through and are looking for help on building their business. Some people, just barely got their license. Some people, Matt joined us. Some people just barely got their license. Some people have had their license for a long time with minimal success because of a lack of mentorship, a lack of guidance, a lack of support. And some people, just have kind of been around. I mean, I'm shocked how many people get their license and then just kind of like don't do much with it, because I think it's because it's so easy to get a license. And so like the barrier to entry is small. And so, I guess it just doesn't create a lot of urgency for some people. And if people are doing it part-time, then they're not driven to maybe be successful, I suppose, or maybe they don't really truly believe in what they're doing, and they're not emotionally connected to it and don't realize truly the value that they're sitting on and how they can impact people's lives. But ultimately, in this video, let's talk about what's going on when you're new in the business. Let's talk about how to connect better with people, because that's been, I think, that is the biggest challenge, right? So what I'd love to do by starting, because it's harder for me, I'd love to start with Jeff Kamke and ask you, as somebody who's newer in the business, you've been around the business, but you're newer than me, and whatever. And it's probably more recent for you dealing with all this stuff. So when you first got into business, Jeff, what were the biggest barriers to you? Like, what were the biggest challenge points for you to get started, to like have success, to like kind of break through, to actually have a chance at succeeding?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, I've been kind of part-time the last 5-6 years in the business. So, time-wise, been in it for a while, but still enough kind of new in the life insurance world to still be able to reflect back on those early days. And I think there was a few things that stand out. One was just the product knowledge, understanding the industry and how to write life insurance in a different way than what most life insurance agents are going to do out there from your up the street, farm bureaus and all the regular stuff. That was a challenge, I think, just understanding the difference and being able to write a policy correctly for the client. Just understanding the needs of the client was something else. That was, I think, a whole skill set and just understanding how do you identify what the needs of the client are, and not coming at it from a sales perspective, but from a value add perspective and an education perspective, and connecting those dots between what you know a little bit about, and you're growing that knowledge base about the industry and just about what you're doing differently than most agents. That I think is the big connecting of the dots. I think is still an ever growing, science, if you will, and a mastery level for everybody. The longer you're in it, obviously you get more proficient, things come easier. But in the beginning, I can remember kind of thinking, oh, this is a big uphill battle, learning just kind of the land of the unknown about the insurance side. If you get questions about certain what about an annuity? What about this? What about that? You're kind of deer in the headlights on some of that. And until you go through the repetitions, I know our mentors, when we first got into the business, were like, you can study, you can train, but the best thing is to get in front of people, get the questions, do your best to answer them. And it is 100% okay to say, you know what, that is an excellent question. I want to make sure I get you the right answer. I will get back to you on that. And that's something I did. I didn't know all the answers, and it's okay to go to your mentor, or go to the carrier and say, hey, what about the situation? What do we do? Okay, great. Follow up with the client. Boom, you got the answer. And I think one of the things that I've heard from many mentors, including you guys with Life 180, is, in the beginning, you think I have to know all the answers for my client, and if I don't, I'm going to lose the sale. When in reality, there's actually an elevation in the client's eyes if you say, look, that's a great question. I haven't had that one before. I want to make sure I get you accurate information, and I'm going to get back to you on that. It raises your credibility with them. And that's okay. We don't have to be all knowing in the beginning. It's okay to have some areas that you still need to grow, and admit that to a client. Hey, I'm relatively new. It's a great question. Let me get back to you. So I think those are the few things off the top of my head that, were cool. I didn't see them as like huge barriers, but we're definitely like, okay, I got my work cut out for me. I need to go through the repetitions. I need to put in the time, be serious, be intentional about what I'm doing, so that I can be the best agent for clients.
Cool. That's awesome. Charles, how about you?
Yeah. So for me, like the initial challenge that I had going into the business was developing the belief and understanding if I wanted to pursue this, and understanding if I believed the product. So for me, it was first vetting and questioning my beliefs, and then just going through that process over and over and over again, and just continuing to ask questions and stress test my beliefs before I even could approach a client in the first place. I had to have that belief, because there's nothing worse than not having full understanding and then prescribing something to a client and you're not even in alignment with it, or you don't fully believe it, because the backlash of that is, I think that's a moral hazard. So that was my first challenge. But then as I got over that hurdle and really understood the product by leveraging all the people that have so much experience, the next problem is, okay, well, how do you create leads? And so you ask your mentors. Matt has great strategies to get in front of people and to get started. But once you get in front of those people, you have to figure out ways to continue that process. So what I did was I joined Chris's Life 180 challenge, and that completely revolutionized basically my whole life, right? Like, I revamped my social media. My LinkedIn's on point now. I opened up a YouTube channel. I'm starting to produce content, right? If you guys want to follow me, it's at Charles_SHF. So I'm creating.
Go do it.
Go do it. So I'm creating content now, and I'm going to networking events and just putting myself out there, and trying to establish a name. And I'm still new to this. It's been a year since I've been with Life 180, and it's just a constant learning process. It's a constant self-development, right? And that's one of the things that drew me to the industry. And it's like, well, if you want to be successful in this business, you have to reinvent yourself. You have to face your fears. You have to get in front of people. You have to be uncomfortable. You have to be uncomfortable with uncomfortable conversations, because that's really what's going to make you a good agent. And it's also what's going to make you that much more valuable for your client. You have to walk them through the different scenarios. You have to allow them to visualize what that looks like. And so every day I'm uncomfortable. right? But that's the growth, is when you're uncomfortable and you push through it. And a lot of times I don't want to do the things that I do, but I keep pushing forward. I keep pushing forward.
Mm-hmm.
And along the way, you have all that growth. So, just what was a challenge in the past is past me, but I have other challenges that I'm constantly overcoming. But I'm reinventing myself over time. So
I love it. Matt, welcome. You're muted, bro. So Matt, you do a lot of training with new agents, and that's pretty much what you do most, right? And so what do you see as the most common mistakes that people make when they get in this business? When they say they want to sell life insurance, or they say they want to help people, and they say like all the right things, and when they're here for the right reasons, and we're pretty good at making sure we vet people to make sure they're here for the right reasons before they join, and yet sometimes people just can't get out of their own way, right? Like what do you see as those kind of challenge points and mistakes that people make?
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
What I realize is the problem with a lot of agencies is they are really focused on bringing agents on to have them mold to their agenda, and this is what is very apparent. Every agency has an agenda, right? Not every, but most of them, like WFG and Family First Life and all these, and their agenda is really to get you to sell, not because you selling is actually going to help you, but get you to sell more so they want the sales for the organization. And so they kind of don't focus on certain things that most agents will need coming into this industry. So when agents come into this industry, they're focused on product knowledge and all that. And that's great. Like, you need to know product knowledge. You need to know how to sell. You need to know how to talk to people, conversations. There's a lot of things that you need to know. But where I see a lot of agencies struggle and a lot of leaders don't understand how to help people. A lot of leaders focus on, well, here, learn the product knowledge, or here, this is what you got to do to sell. And here, this is the stuff that you got to know. And this is what you got to do, which is important. But where I see a lot of leaders don't understand is take away the industry, take away the product knowledge, take away everything that has to do with life insurance in this industry, right? And think of it as a human element. Most people, the reason I feel like they struggle in this industry is their self-worth, their identity, their belief in themselves, their comfort zone. There's things that have nothing to do with this industry that agents have to overcome. And I think it contributes to why a lot of agents quit. But I see a lot of people don't know how to help agents do that. Like, how do you help somebody increase their belief? How do you help somebody increase their identity? Because a lot of agents, if you come from a family where you guys don't make a lot of money and now you're sitting with somebody, you're going to ask them to move $500,000. If your identity is down here and you feel like you're sitting with somebody that has a higher identity from you, your confidence is going to be, nowhere near it needs to be for you to help people. So I think agents working on, changing their identity, increasing their self-worth, believing in themselves more. I think that's key. Now, here's the question. How do you do that?
That's the tough part.
Because most agents don't know how to do it for themselves. And I feel like that's like when I do training for us, and we're talking with agents, I think outside a lot of the agents, they think the training is about something, but it's actually not. Like, a lot of the times they're like, oh yeah, great training. They think and I could tell because some of the agents will reach out to me, hey, great training on this. And I'm thinking, yes, that was valuable. But what I was actually doing was increasing belief. What I was actually doing is increasing the belief with the whole agency, having people believe like, wow, I can actually do it subtly. And it wasn't actually about the product knowledge. It actually wasn't about this one thing. It was all about increasing belief. And so I think there's an art to helping people believe more in themselves and stuff like that. And it's just so subtle, but I think it's so important. And I always say to everybody, look, you don't have to be, something spectacular, or just be you with more belief. You'll be so shocked on what you'll do. You'll be so shocked on things that won't limit you. Like, just you with more belief. And it's just crazy. I've seen it over the years where you could take somebody that they're like the underdog, and maybe they don't come from, they don't come from maybe a background with, a lot of success and family and stuff like that. But you take that person, you increase their belief, and it's just shocking what you can see, what they do and how they transform. And so for me, I have a lot of passion for helping clients and stuff like that. But over the years, my passion kind of switched from clients to helping agents.
Totally.
And the reason being is, I help a client, you probably won't see the fruit of it and what you actually did till years later, if they pass away or if they need money from the account and stuff like that. But with an agent, what drives me is like, man, if I can help an agent and I could start seeing success now, I could be part of it now. I don't have to wait years. I could be part of it in the beginning.
And there's a ripple effect.
Oh yeah.
There's a scalability to that. You can impact a lot more lives. If you can help one agent, there's scalability.
And you could see it now. And I think, over the last year, Charles was there. You remember our first meeting a year ago? Yeah. So I started May 19th. If we look at, a year ago, how far we've come. And I remember in the first 6 months, I knew the belief wasn't there. I was like, oh, okay, this is new. But now it's like we got so many people with belief that has been increased, comes with confidence, comes with, I'm going to take more shot. I'm going to pull triggers. I'm going to take action. And it's just more contagious, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing. Let me ask you this, because I always say the human brain is only going to allow you to put 100% of effort into something that you believe with 100% certainty you can be successful in, right? And I always talk about that in regards to our financial strategies, and that's one of the reasons why people struggle with money is because they're not living in alignment with their values and beliefs. They don't have their money in alignment with their values and beliefs, and most people don't know that. But like when you ask them questions like, what do you believe about taxes? What do you believe about government debt, national debt? Like, what do you believe about the future of our, the dollar and the political spectrum and everything? Like, people will say all these things, and then you go, all right, well, where's all your money? And it's in places that are completely out of alignment with what they believe. They don't know it, but subconsciously they're losing that fight. Right. And it's one of the reasons people don't do what's in their own best interest, and they sort of kind of quote unquote self-sabotage because their subconscious is like, well, this isn't going to work. It's not in alignment. Something just doesn't feel right. You don't know how to process. So it's like the subconscious mind is like, well, screw it. I'm just going to enjoy what I have in front of me. Right. Because that I can control, that I believe in, that is real. Right. Like, and so it's like with agents, I think it's very similar, right? If an agent doesn't believe in what they're doing fully, doesn't believe that they can be successful,
right?
Doesn't, I think it becomes really hard. Doesn't believe that they have the value to add. There's a lot of imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Out of the gate, right? Because when you first get into the business, you don't know all the things you want to know. Right? Like you're still learning. And I think that's where it's important to make sure that you have mentorship and a team of support and people behind you that you can do what Jeff Kamke said and say, you know what, I don't know the answer right now. But Jeff, in that environment, I think for you to be able to authentically say, you know what, I don't know the answer, but I'm going to get back to you with that. Right? Like I'm going to go to somebody that I know, that I trust, that will have the answer for it. I have a team of support. Jeff has to authentically believe that he's got that team behind him. Because if he doesn't, that's where imposter syndrome is going to come in. That's where he's going to be like, well, crap, I got to make something up because I don't have anybody there. So I better do something to keep this thing going. You know what I mean? And it's tough. And so belief is so important, but belief shows up in so many different ways. So belief is, and we were talking, I got kind of heated earlier, because we were talking amongst ourselves, but I get fired up about this stuff, there's really nobody ever, it was just me, Charles and Tyler talking. And, it was just like, I don't understand how people do this business and are not their first client. I'm a firm believer, you have to do this. If you're in this business, and you are selling to other people, and I'm like, hey, Charles, you know what? You need life insurance. You need to do this stuff. And I am not doing it myself. It's impossible for me to really subconsciously believe that he should be doing it if I can't even get myself to do it?
Right.
You know what I mean? And that there is so many problems with people in this business. Now, it doesn't mean I need to be doing, a massive whole life policy and focusing on that. But that's one of the things we talk about with like buying your net worth and using term insurance and then, convertible term and working on a plan. It just means you got to be practicing what you preach and working on the, on the process. And if you can do that authentically, now I can have a real conversation. Now, the whole dynamic of that first conversation isn't me selling something to Charles. It's me saying, hey, I'd love to share with you what I found, because typically what happened, and Charles is a perfect example of this, right? Like, I remember when Charles joined us, and I remember being like, when's that guy going to do anything? No, no, I'm just joking. But I remember him coming to the trainings, and asking all the questions. And to me, I was like, it's cool. Like, he obviously, like, he hadn't sold a policy really yet or whatever, but it was obvious to me that he was asking all the right questions. He was moving the ball forward for himself. He was, he's a very analytical human being that needs to build his belief before he can do it. But once he got to that point, you hit a tipping point where you finally like catch it, and you're like, okay, and then you can move forward. Is that fair?
That is fair. 100%.
Right. And I think the challenge with a lot of these places is they get you in, and then they're like, you need to go, just trust in the system. And it's like, and the problem is, why should I trust anything? You haven't, like if I asked you to just if I pushed you when you first joined and was like, you need to go,
it wouldn't work.
It would have destroyed our trust.
Right? I just wouldn't have done it.
Exactly. Yeah. And so but that's what happens. And so it took us almost a year, right?
Yeah.
And that's fine. But now all the trust is there authentically. And whether or not Charles ever sells a lot of life insurance, the process of him being involved with Life 180 has hopefully improved his life. Even if he never sold to anybody else, just what he learned in the association with us, he's going to implement for himself, and he's better off for it. Is that fair?
100%.
You have anything you want to add to that, or am I?
No, I mean, just going through that process. I'm in a different position than other people, where I have a job that can fund my lifestyle, so I can put my energy and my creative energy into building the Life 180 and building my own business up over time. And so, I'm all relationship based, and it took me a while to identify my self-worth, where I'm not chasing after people. I'm creating the systems where people will come to me over time. And that was a whole mental shift, where I was chasing people and I wasn't getting the same results, where people are coming to me now that I'm building out my whole social media and everything else. People are coming to me, and that's a whole mental shift. And you're in a better position, and you're coming from a position where you are the authority on the subject. So it's just a whole mental shift, a whole mindset shift. And yeah, it took me a while. Like, I know that most agents fail after a year. And I know that if I stick with it, if I just keep showing up day in and day out, eventually the ball will keep rolling. So right now I'm pushing that boulder up the mountain. And once I get that boulder up to the top and everything starts flowing, that's a whole nother, right? I'll have that momentum and that tailwind.
Love it.
And that's the philosophy that I'm following.
Jeff, you got something you want to throw in there?
Yeah, just talking about agency, I think I was having a podcast interview last week, and we were talking about, not to get too, Bible-ish, but I know in the Bible it talks about being equally yoked, and we think about that only in marriage, right? But that has to do with our friendship. It has to do with our business relationships. And I think about that with an agency. Like, if you're joining an agency or a company that's selling life insurance, how in alignment are you? I mean, we've learned from you, Chris, do things that are in alignment with your values and beliefs. So who you're aligning yourself with at a company level is a big deal. And when we were needing to find a new agency, last year, and we interviewed several, and what stood out to me and Jeff Finley, the other agent that's with you guys, was, just what you had to offer. It was so much more than just selling life insurance and making money. It wasn't the promise of, oh, if you come over here, it's going to be, so many dollars per month or this many sales. That wasn't even the discussion. And, I had gotten to know, you from YouTube videos, Chris, and just who you were. And then we got to talk to you face to face a couple times. And it was like, okay, there's a full alignment here with who you are, your ethics, how you think. Energetically, we were aligned in so many ways. So it was like, that has got to be for any agent getting into the industry. Make sure you're aligned with, well, first you need to know what your values and beliefs are about who you want to work with. Make sure that the way you operate, like what you're just describing, Charles, and how you function, and like, you need to know yourself well enough to know that you're going to be aligned and have the potential for success in the way that is going to be meaningful for you to be successful, because you can't just push yourself to success in a way that's incongruent with you. I know I would be shut down in that example. If you said, go, 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 I'd leave immediately. That wouldn't be me. But when you have a wiser, I guess I could say a wiser way of being about how you serve agents and how you mentor them. And it's not about the numbers. It's not about the sales. It's developing you as a person. And not even just for life insurance. The things that you guys teach the agents are about bettering yourself, but it's impacting all areas of your life. It's not just growing so you can sell more product. It's growing so you're a better husband, a better father, a better businessman, a better friend. I mean, to me, it's the whole thing. And that was what we were looking for. That was the alignment with Life 180, was the full package. So, you know, that's my encouragement, is make sure whoever you're going in business with, you're in alignment with it, and you do enough due diligence on the front end, A, about yourself, and then B, who you're going into business with, and make sure that you're going to be on a path that's going to be, you know, harmonious for your success.
Yeah, man. I mean, I love that. And I think that's key, you know, to realize that that alignment and that long-term thinking has to be in play. You know, like the challenge is like, and one of the reasons I love people's ability to do this part-time, and, you know, Charles is a perfect example of this. You don't have to be desperate. You don't have to, you can actually show up authentically. And I think it's really important to make it so, you know, it's one of the things we talked about earlier today, is like, I just firmly believe you better have a solid, stable income, you know, through another stream of income somehow, whether it's another job, or, you know, if you have savings that you can use as like a good burn, you know, to make sure your bills are paid. So you have a ramp up period where you can actually focus on building your business the right way and not be stressed out about needing to make sales every month. Because I don't care who you are, you can have the best intentions, you can be the best person in the world, but if you need to sell a policy to pay your bills, you're like injecting a moral hazard into the process unintentionally. And, you know, so I think it's really important to not, you know, to not fall into that, you know, and we see it a lot. And I think, you know, and I think it's, you hit the nail on the head, is like, our focus has always been, and one of the things that drove me from the beginning is I believe in the importance behind what we do. And I believe, you know, when we look at it through that lens, I think one of the things that's really important is we want to build people, you know, and we want to, and from that perspective, building people is not about selling life insurance. But I do believe if you build yourself, you're going to become a more valuable asset to the people that you're trying to serve. And in the long run, you're going to sell more life insurance. Now, you may sell less life insurance your first 6 months in the business than you would sell with another strategy and just going and hammering and selling and like all this stuff. But like, there's a lot of potential damage that people are doing to their relationships, to their friendships, to their business associates when they get in this business, and they're just kind of told to fall into a system and just trust the process and just hammer this stuff through and just sell, you know, for all these reasons that, you know, are kind of self-serving to the people that just want you to sell, you know, and you're supposed to just trust because it's all about you making money, you know. That's the challenge. And so that said, let's kind of pivot a little bit, and the reason I say let's pivot is because this video is about how to sell more life insurance, right? And here I am saying, like, don't sell as much life insurance your first 6 months. And so, like, I don't want that to be like misconstrued, because, like, obviously nobody gets into the life insurance business to be a missionary. Like, hopefully you make enough money so you can, you know, and impact lives, and so you can go do mission work if that's what your calling is. But like, I don't know. I look at it like you need to think about it through the lens of how do you align yourself with the people that you actually trust. You know, Stephen Covey wrote that book, Speed of Trust, and you're going to move faster if you truly, truly, truly trust the people that you're working with. And if you want to sell, I would say the first things first, and then I want to get into specific questions. I just kind of want to drop this and then move on to like actual conversational value that people can have with clients and prospects and engaging with people for the first time and stuff of that nature. But I think the speed of trust is everything in this business. And I would caution everybody, if you are getting into this business and you get that gut feeling, Matt can speak to this a lot. If you're getting that gut feeling where you're like, something just doesn't feel right. They're telling me to trust them, but I don't trust them, but they're guilting me into trusting them, but I don't trust, like something just feels wrong. And some people do it anyway. And some people wake up and go a different direction, like whatever. But I would really encourage everybody, if you're getting that gut feeling, like just walk away, like go do something else. You're getting that gut, trust your instincts. Like, and anybody that's on the Life 180 team, if you ever got anything like that from me or anybody on the team, I give you permission to slap that person, like back in, you know, like, because like, I don't ever want people to feel like they're not at least able to move forward with trust. Now, that doesn't mean you don't want to do things, you know, but I have no interest in pushing a rope. I have no interest in like, you know, this isn't Jeff, but like if Jeff was coming on board and wasn't really doing anything and wasn't whatever, I have no interest in trying to convince Jeff to do something. Jeff is going to move at his own pace. He's a grown man. Like, I'm not going to tell Jeff what to do. Like, and if by me telling Jeff what he needs to do to be successful is by basically me demasculating him, saying, hey, Jeff, you know what? You need to take care of your family, and I know what you need to do better than you need to do yourself. So just listen to me, because you're not smart enough to take care of your family. I know the best interest of your family and your life and everything better than you do. So you just need to listen to me and trust me. I mean, that's really what's happening if I do that, versus just being like, dude, Jeff, like, we want to create an atmosphere that makes it so Jeff is able to, you know, move at his pace. And if he needs help, he can reach out and he knows he's got the support there, you know? And if he needs to learn stuff, he can learn it. But like, to me, it's a numbers game, right? Like if we have 100 people on the team, 10 people are going to move really fast, 10 people are going to move mediocre, and 80 of them are going to go really slow. And that's okay. Like that's just the way it is. I'd rather have those 80 people go slow and do it right and not hurt people and be confident and build their belief. And they're going to be in it for the longer run by doing it that way. Matt, you were going to say something.
What you said was, it made me think of something, because I mean, what you said was spot on. And just like, you know, you can't force people to do things. I'm not interested in pushing yarn either, right? Like I'm not interested in doing that. However, there's a couple of things. I think a lot of companies are trying to get people to do things, right? They're forcing them. You need to do this. This is what you need to do. This is how we do it. You either do it or you're out. Kind of that mentality, right? And I think when people struggle moving forward, it's not about pushing them and getting them to do what you want them to do. It's about understanding what their blocks are and helping them remove those blocks. Mm-hmm. That is what I'm trying to talk about, where a lot of leaders lack that skill. Mm-hmm. They just don't even know how to do it. I love it. Then over the years, working with a lot of leaders, that's what I realized. They're like, I can't get these guys to go. They're not motivated. I'm like, actually, they're motivated. You just don't have the skills to remove the blocks. Most people are motivated. Most people are motivated. What they suffer from is they have blocks mentally, right? Belief, identity. And if you don't know how to remove those blocks on the outside looking in, you'll look at somebody like, they're just not motivated. I'm not going to work with them. Actually, it's not true. They have certain blocks that you just don't know how to identify and remove. And that is really the key point. I've seen a lot of these agencies. They don't even know what I just said is even something that exists. So all they know how to do is like, well, if they don't want to work, then forget them. And that's the big problem. It's
a burn and churn mentality.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And that's tough. So, all right. So all that said, let's talk about this. Because I think, you know, one of the challenges when people first got to get in the business, let's talk about like conversationally, right? Because we were talking about this earlier. And I think one of the challenges is like a lot of people, when they first ask us, like, you know, they get in the business and they're like, all right, how do I have conversations with people? Like, what do I say to people? Like, you know, and we were reading this thing and I was just like, that really sucks. Like, you should never say that to somebody. And it was just like, what are you currently doing for your financial plan? It's like, please never say that to anybody. Like, what? And I was like, don't ever. And it ultimately, like, what I started to like think about is like, there's different phases in the process of like trying to help people. And what I think the problem is that people go out there and they try to sell life insurance. Okay.
Exactly.
And I know it sounds bad, but if you want to sell more life insurance, stop selling life insurance. Okay. Here's what I mean by that. Go out and build relationships with people. Your job when you're a life insurance agent is to spend the time studying like Charles did and build your belief in it and understand the products and get to a stage where you have that conviction. You need the conviction. If you don't have the conviction, you can have all the intellect in the world. It's not going to mean anything, because at some point in time, your emotional element of it is going to get exposed and you're going to lose the deal most of the time. I mean, there are some people that can just push past that and they're good salespeople and they just make whatever happen. And those people are going to succeed no matter what. The rest of them, you need to believe in what you're doing. Your why behind what you're doing needs to be the driver behind everything. So when you get in this business, what I think is really, really important for people to focus on is saying, all right, I'm going to build my own belief. I'm going to build my conviction. I'm going to be my first client. I'm going to go through the experience, and I'm going to build my intellect, my competency. And it's the whole confidence loop that I talk about. The more competent you become, the more confident you're going to become to have more conversations. The more confident you become, you're going to have those higher conversations. You're going to be able to elevate your competence to a higher level. You're going to become more and more confident. And then over time, you're just going to get better and better and better and better. And if you just do that consistently over time, you are going to blow yourself away with your ability to grow as a professional, right? Like, so I think that's really important to understand. Now, that said, when I said stop selling life insurance, it's because if we're selling to people, then it's not about them. Like if I go to Matt and I'm like, hey, Matt, you need life insurance. I found this thing. I'm doing it. I love it. You need it too, right? That's bad, right? And that's what most people do is like, hey, check out this new exciting mousetrap that I found. You know, this new exciting widget that I found that's going to solve all your financial problems. You know, like all this stuff. Like, God, it's horrible. It's horrible. And that's what most people do. And then they're wondering why they're struggling is because it's a very, and I know it's not on purpose. And I know most people that are doing that are not doing it with the intent of, you know, hurting people. They want to help. They're excited, but you're just focusing in the wrong process. You know, your first step of the process, and we were talking about this earlier, is that before you get into the prospecting phase, you got to get in the relationship building phase, the development phase of that relationship, where you are just trying to identify and ask questions and seek clarity about what their values and beliefs are, right? So before I go to Matt and I try to sell him any life insurance, rather than say, hey, Matt, you know what you need? An infinite banking policy. That's what you need.
What's that?
You know?
Ooh.
Like, you know what? Matt, wouldn't you love to have more control of your money, man? Like your bank is totally ripping you off. You need to take control of the banking function in your life, man. Like, because like I could get your money to perform multiple functions in your life and you don't even know what you don't know. It's like a savings account on steroids. You need this thing and you need it now, bro. Right? Versus like going to you and just being like, hey man, like what's going on in your life? What's working? What's not? Like, what do you think about the world going on around us? You know, holy crap, it's kind of a mess. I think. What do you think? You know, and we have this conversation, we go down and it opens up the ability for me to talk to him about all the things that, you know, are relevant to the money talk, all the things that are going to give me clarity about what Matt truly believes, what he doesn't believe. And you can't BS this conversation either. Like, is one of the reasons I say you got to help people align their money with their values and beliefs. And one of my favorite things, and one of the reasons I love doing what I do, is because I help people align their money with their values and beliefs. And to me, there's not like much more of a noble calling than doing that, because it's going to help people generationally change the lineage of their entire family, you know? And so like your ability to make impact, your ability to make money is directly correlated to the value that you're able to add to people if you do it this way, right? Because the way that people are doing it now, because they're out of alignment with their values and beliefs with their money, is crippling their ability to actually execute and accomplish an objective, which is financial freedom, which is, leaving the next generation better off than where they came in, right? And so for us to go from that perspective and be able to connect with people and ask them questions, and I could just, really get, like, my whole goal is to ask you questions without being like point blank about it, right? Ask you questions about what you think about all this stuff, and start talking about our financial futures, and start talking about, you can start to slowly get into, as you build the relationship phase, and I have clarity about Matt, and I build clarity about who Matt is, what he believes, what he wants to accomplish, what his values are, what's important to him in life, what does he actually want. Now it's my job not to sell him life insurance proactively, but then to look at that and be like, Matt just told me all these things that he values and believes. I have a thing, and I have all these options, these tools in my tool belt, financial tool belt, about, ways that I can help him, different products that will solve different problems for him, and so now I can ask him very point blank about, what he thinks, what's he currently doing. You say that, like, dude, like, you're worried about all that. What are you doing about it? Right? Like, and that's a much more dynamic conversation. And it's a much more emotional conversation, right? And because of the fact that we had that, and it's an authentic conversation, it's not some bait and switch bullcrap, right? Because I genuinely care, right? Basically, Matt's giving me permission to keep going there. And I promise you, if Matt doesn't want to have this conversation, Matt's just going to shut me down when I start talking about politics, and I start talking about the economy and the Fed funds rate, and like Jerome Powell being an idiot and all these things, right? Like, I'm going to instantly know that Matt isn't in alignment with my values and beliefs, so he's probably not the right client for me to work with. And that's okay. Yeah. That's how you get a 99+ persistency rate, by working with people that share your values and beliefs as an agent. You can't help everybody. Find the people, I just spit all over my computer. Find the people that align with your values and beliefs that you can truly connect with. Build your community, build your tribe like that. I don't create Life 180 content all the time trying to appease everybody. Anybody that watches this channel knows there's many people that follow me, hate me, that like me. Like, that's okay. I'm not here to be loved. I'm here to help people. Hopefully some people love me. I don't know. Like, and that's it though. But you got to be willing to like put yourself out there, and it can't be about your ego. It can't be about you trying to look important or look good, or be the smart person in the room or anything like that. It's genuinely got to be about serving people and helping people, like, align that, and not be about selling a product. It's got to be about, like, finding them. And maybe you find that, hey, they're, and by the way, this happens all the time. You start talking about it and they go, yeah, I'm worried, man. I'm in debt, man. Like, I got $25,000 in credit card bills. I'm paying $600 a month in interest right now. I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I'm buried. I need to figure out a solution. So for me to go, you know what you need? You need an infant banking policy, and you need to, pump all your money into a whole life policy when they got all these other issues. That's the wrong thing, right? But if I start being like, wow, how's that feel for your marriage? How are you feeling for your family? Like, like, that must be really stressful. And like, we have this conversation about the emotion behind it. And I'm knowing my values and beliefs are, in that moment, I better have, if I were in that position, I would have life insurance. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, there's an element of sales that go with it, right? You need to influence. That's what sales is influence, but you got to influence in a way that you truly believe, that you believe is in alignment with them. But I can't sell it. I got to ask questions and be a leader and be a shepherd and guide people through their own path of self-discovery. And they have to make the decision. That's the key. You cannot sell. You have to lead to a decision.
So,
is that hard?
No, it's not hard. That's exactly, I agree with everything that you're saying, but to boil it down, what Chris is saying is get good with questions. Like, get molecular with questions, understand the language. So life insurance is a language business. So just boil it down. Like, I've gotten to the point where I'm creating questionnaires and just getting really good with questions. And when I'm going to networking events, I just generally just be interested with people and wanting to know their story and develop that relationship. And over time, you know, as you get to know them, you can maybe see where they might have some gaps that could be fixed with life insurance. But you're not going to have that conversation until you've established that trust. And like Chris was saying, lead them down, use questions for them to have that self-realization. And then what you can say is what you're doing with your own life and might piece together those gaps that they have in their life. And then that would lead to the next conversation of moving forward to the next step in the process. So just boil it down, get good with questions, get good with language, get good with tonality. And like the number one thing is just be genuine.
Be genuine. I like that.
Genuine.
What do you guys have to say? What are your thoughts about that? I know you got a lot of
difference is putting, you know, there's just a lot of companies out there where their focus on is making money first. And I think it's important you just put people first. And if you just start from there, you'll notice how, you know, what you say, how you say it completely changes. But, you know, coming from like the advanced market side of this industry. And then when I went into like Family First Life, that industry, and they told me, yeah, we don't build rapport here. We say the script and we sell. I'm like, it was so backwards.
We don't do that.
What do you mean we don't build rapport? Like, yeah, don't build.
We don't care about our clients.
And you know, it was this internal battle, and I just couldn't do it. So it's just, you know, there's a lot of people, influencer. I'm not going to call out any names like Andy Elliott, but there's people out there that from car sales. Could you imagine this? Car sales. I'm not saying all car salesmen are bad, but they have certain focus of making money and making sales. It's definitely not really helping people. So you got somebody like that come into our industry.
Yeah.
And what do you think they're teaching agents? And I've been to his training center. I know personal agents that left his team. In fact, I have one agent that left this team that joined us, and just hearing the culture, I'm just thinking like, this is totally wrong. This is not focused on helping people. This is focused on making money, making commission. And I mean, is anybody shocked? We got a car salesman come into our industry, and now he's an influencer and having sales tactics, how to overcome things. And my thing is, if you have a client and you're on the second appointment and they ask you, or they say, oh, I need to think about it, your whole sales strategy is not good. And so it's just interesting. But I think putting people first is what we're talking about.
Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, man. No, I couldn't agree more. And so that's I think that's what the industry needs. I think we need more of it, and that's why we're doing what we're doing. So I want to take the last little section here and talk about, like, if you're an agent and you are in a position right now and you are looking to build your business and you're looking to learn higher level sales conversations, advanced sales topics, marketing, lead generation, generating your own leads, creating content, building a YouTube channel, building your own system. I would call it an authority platform. We are running a mastermind. It's the first official Life 180 mastermind. We're doing it down at my new property for the investment fund that we launched. And we are doing it April 24th through 29th. There's going to be a bonus day on the front and back of it all. It's going to be an amazing, amazing time. We've basically set it up so it's kind of like a no-brainer offer. Everything is included. Well, you got to pay for your flight and stuff, but once you get there, all the food, all the rooms, we're doing excursions. It's going to be a blend of just high-level networking, high-level sales training, marketing training. I've actually got our marketing team that's going to be there. We're going to build sales funnels, marketing funnels, webinar funnels, book funnels, like whatever it is. Yeah, digital business cards, all these different things. Whatever it is that you need to hit the next level in your business from a digital perspective, we're going to have our digital team there to help you build it. And the whole process, you know, is going to be, you're going to leave that week with something tangible created, something that I know people have a hard time, you know, executing on that because the technology is overwhelming. And so imagine if you could come down and have that all done. I mean, honestly, I could charge 10,000 for this and it'd be a value. And I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm going to make you go to the website, go to mastermind.life180.com, and you can go check it out. I'll put it in the chat there, or in the messages, but go to mastermind.life180.com and you can check it out. And it's kind of an irresistible offer. I will tell you this, we are limited to 20 agents going. I can't take more than that. The property won't take more than that. That is what the limit is. And I've got it priced. We've already got a bunch of seats sold. And it's going to sell out. We've got some amazing people coming. And I think it's going to be an amazing opportunity to network and connect. And, a big inspiration of me to do this was to do it for the Life 180 agents, because I think, the people on our team, and I want to give them the first opportunity. But we also, even if you're not on the Life 180 team, you're welcome to check it out and come. It's open. My mission in this business is to help everybody. Obviously, that goes beyond just our team. So other people that want to come, you're welcome to check it out. If you have any questions, you can email Chris@life180.com. I'm happy to engage with anybody, answer any questions anybody has about anything. But I know Jeff's going to be there. Charles is going to be there. Matt's going to be there. We're all going to be there. So if you want to meet us in person too, and all that stuff, and I would really just encourage anybody to come. I'm a big believer in investing in yourself. I've spent multiple six figures in my life on just personal coaching and development and groups and masterminds and all that stuff. And this is basically priced out to be the best bargain in the world. So that's my thought. That's what we're doing. Hope to see everybody there. It's coming up, so get on it. So guys, have anything else you want to say before we go?
Yeah, I had a couple thoughts just on your last topic, Chris. They're thinking about some of the sales tactics that you're talking about, and just that. I had a meeting this morning with a friend I haven't seen in several years, and there's the legitimate caring that needs to come out of meeting people, and not going into it with the energy of, I need to make a sale, I want to sell this person, but flipping it to, I just want to get to know this person at a deeper level. And then, one of the things that you guys have been teaching, it's a skill set that I need to develop more, is that conversational curiosity of getting to know people, but asking the right questions that are going to get the right information from them to be able to say, do I have something to offer them? Are we in alignment? Are they the right type of client? And having that I want to serve everybody, but the energy of, I have a very specific framework of who I want to work with. These are the people I love to work with. And if you don't fit my mold, I don't want to work with you. Maybe go find somebody else. Maybe I have a referral for you to go somewhere else. And that's a big thing that we've learned. And I think, some of the stuff, Matt, that you've taught us has just been so good around the conversational part, and how do you, add value through conversation to get to the point where there could be a sales opportunity. But that's not what you're leading with. You're not trying to get that on the first appointment necessarily, the first conversation with somebody at a networking event. Don't go into it with such a lack energy. I have to get this, I have to go through the whole sales lingo on the first, conversation with this person. It doesn't have to happen. Slow down, relax, talk to Matt. Why are you having that type of aggressive need to do it all right now? What's that? You got to dig into that. You got to go deeper than that. So those are just a few thoughts from what you're talking about, the topic before, that I just think, in my perspective, I think one last point here is, even my conversation this morning, one thing, Matt, you've always taught us in the training is, go ahead and screw up, but then just realize what you did in a meeting that you could do better. And then know mentally, okay, next time I'm in that situation, or next time this thing is said, or this point is brought up, here's how I can handle that better. Maybe you need to get some coaching from your mentor to know how to do that. Because I'm looking back at this morning, I'm like, oh, I could have probably said this or asked this and probed a little bit more, and I wasn't thinking about that. So it's the repetition, and having the system that you guys have is so awesome to be able to be productive and evolve rapidly, to be able to be successful. So last couple thoughts. Thanks.
I love it. All right, guys. Well, hopefully everybody found value in this. If you did, make sure you like the video, share the video, get it out there to people. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell. That way you're notified every time we launch a new video. Make sure, go down in the description below, link up, subscribe to Matt, subscribe to Charles, subscribe to Jeff. They are cranking out awesome content as well. It's so fun to see their channels growing and their audience growing and the quality of their content. and the clarity of their message continue to get better and better. It's amazing. And so all the support is greatly appreciated on that level, because they're doing great things in the business, and we need more people doing the same thing. So that is it for now. We'll see you. Actually, Matt and I will see you tomorrow. Same time, same bat channel. Actually, we're going to do it a little earlier tomorrow because I was running late today. But
Okay.
Thanks for being here. Till tomorrow. Have a blessed, inspirational day. We'll see you.